there is a whole called body. The body parts, foot, etc., are different from the body, and it is the body that has the male or female characteristics. Answer. The individual has already been refuted above, and I Kumarajiva have also refuted the characteristics of the body. Now I must repeat myself. If there were a whole called body, all the parts of the body would exist in each part of this body. Each of the parts would exist in every part. If the body existed fully in all of the parts, the foot would exist in the head. Why? Because in the head there is an entire body. If each part of the body were in all the parts, there would be no difference between the body and its parts, the whole following the parts. Question. If the parts of the body, the foot, etc., were different from the body, the error that you mention would exist. But here the parts of the body, the foot, etc., are not different from the whole, i.e., the body. Therefore there is no error. Answer. If the parts of the body were not different from the whole, then the head would be the foot. Why? Because both of them, as body, would not differ. Moreover, the parts of the body are many, whereas the whole is just one. It is impossible that a multiplicity should make a unit and that a unit should make a multiplicity. Besides, although it is true that the fruit does not exist when the cause does not exist, it is not true that the cause does not exist when the fruit does not exist. If, as you claim, the parts of the body are not different from the whole, the cause would not exist when the fruit does not exist. Why? Because cause and fruit would be identical. The body does not exist whether you look for it in identity or in difference, and, as the body does not exist, on what basis would the male or female characteristics reside? If the latter exist, they are either bodily or different from the body. But the body does not exist. If they occur in some dharma other than the body, since this other dharma is non-material, there would be no difference between male and female. It is simply a matter of a complex of causes and conditions in the course of two successive existences, and we speak of male and female out of mental error. Thus it is said, lower your head or raise it up, bend or stretch, stand up, go forth or return, look straight ahead or to the side, speak or babble. In all of that, there is nothing true. It is because the wind moves the vijnana that these activities take place. But this vijnana is of temporary nature, and it exists no longer from one moment to the next moment. The distinction between male and female comes from my mind. It is out of lack of wisdom that I see them wrongly exist. Structures of bones tied one to another, without skin or flesh. Impulses in movement, like a mannequin. No reality on the inside, outwardly called a man. Like a foreign coin thrown into the water or a jungle fire devouring a bamboo forest, sounds issue forth out of it. As a result of a complex of causes and conditions. For other similar characteristics, see above. This is the gate of signlessness. C. Apranihitasamadhi. There is wishlessness when, having knowledge of the non-existence of characteristics, there is no longer any reaction. This is the gate of wishlessness. 2. Nature of the three concentrations. Question. But it is by means of wisdom that these three things contemplate sunyata, animitta and apranihita respectively. If these are wisdoms, why call them concentrations? Answer. If these three kinds of wisdoms were not in meditative stabilization, they would be wild wisdoms. Many people would fall into pernicious doubts and do nothing further. But when these wisdoms are in concentration, they are able to destroy all the defilements and find the true nature of dharmas. Furthermore, they are dharmas of the path, different from the world and in opposition to the world. The saints who are in these meditative stabilizations find the true nature and preach it. And this is not the language of a wild mind. Finally, the other trances and absorptions. Samapatti, in which these three things do not occur, are not called meditative stabilizations. Why? Because one can stray away from them, lose them and fall back into samsara. This is what the Buddha said. The person who observes pure morality is called a monk. The person who contemplates emptiness is called an ecstatic. The mindful, vigorous, energetic person is called the real yogin. The foremost of all happiness is cutting desires and destroying madness. Rejecting the group of the five aggregates and the dharmas of the path is eternal happiness, arriving at nirvana. It follows from these stanzas that the Buddha calls the concentration the three gates of liberation. Question. Why are they called gates of liberation? Answer. When they are practiced, liberation is attained and one reaches nirvana without residue of conditioning. This is why they are called gates of liberation. Nirvana without residue of conditioning is true liberation, for in it one finds liberation from physical and mental suffering. Nirvana with residual conditioning is the gate to it. And, although these three concentrations are not nirvana proper, they are the cause of nirvana, and that is why they are called nirvana. In the world, it is common usage to designate the cause by the effect and the effect by the cause. Sunyata, animitta and apranihita are concentrations by nature. The mind and mental events associated with these concentrations. Bodily actions and vocal actions that arise following them, the formations dissociated from the mind that come forth, form a complex called concentration. Thus, when the king arrives, with him, of necessity, come the prime minister and some soldiers. Here concentration is like the king, wisdom is like the prime minister, and the other dharmas are like the soldiers. Even if these other dharmas are not mentioned, they must necessarily be present. Why? Concentration does not arise by itself. It is unable to have all the activity by itself. The other dharmas arise along with it, endure with it, perish with it, and collaborate with it in realizing the good. 3. Aspects of the three concentrations. A. The meditative stabilization on emptiness has two aspects. 1. Because it considers the five aggregates of attachment as having neither sameness nor difference, it is empty. 2. Because it considers the me and the mine as non-existent, it is without self. B. The meditative stabilization of signlessness has four aspects. 1. Because it considers nirvana as the cessation of all types of suffering, it is cessation. 2. Because it considers it as the extinctions of the fires of the threefold poison and the other defilements, it is peace. 3. Because it considers it as the foremost of all dharmas, it is excellent. 4. Because it considers it as separated from the world, it is exit. C. The meditative stabilization of wishlessness has two aspects. 1. Because it considers the five aggregates of attachment as coming from causes and conditions, it is impermanent. 2. Because it considers them as the torments of the body and mind, it is suffering. Next, insofar as it considers the causes of the five skandhas of attachment, it has four more aspects. 3. Because the complex of defilements and impure actions produces a fruit of suffering, it is origin. 4. Because the six causes produce a fruit of suffering, it is cause.